Dear brothers and sisters in faith, today I would like to share with you a story that has the power to touch even the hardest of hearts. It is the story of Brendon O'Rouke, a 4-year-old American boy who was diagnosed with AIDS, and his encounter with Pope John Paul II, an encounter that moved the entire world and transformed the stigma towards AIDS patients in the 1980s. Before I continue, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and become part of our community of faith and hope. Brendon was born prematurely, 3 months before the expected date, weighing only 800 grams. To survive, he had to fight with all his strength, with an energy that surprised everyone. Despite his fragile health condition, he had the ability to embrace his mother in warm hugs, filled with a strength that defied his own condition and conveyed courage and resilience. Brendon's life was a blend of ordinariness and extraordinariness. With his bright blue eyes, freckles, and tiny physique, Brendon, despite it all, was a whirlwind of energy. He loved his toys, games, and teasing his brothers and sisters. But deep inside, he carried something else. Something that during those years caused much fear and terrorized the world. Brendon's mother, a teacher at a Catholic school, shared that her son, due to his fragile health conditions at birth, had to undergo several blood transfusions, and unfortunately, during one of these, he contracted HIV. The diagnosis of the disease came only 4 years later, 2 months before the arrival of Pope John Paul II in the United States. On September 17, 1987, when Brendon was 4 years old, he was among the crowd gathered at the Basilica of Mission Dolores, men and women waiting for the Pope's arrival. That day, Brendon became the protagonist of a gesture that would remain in history and capture the attention of the media present at the event. The little boy was dressed in a blue suit, a white shirt, and a red tie. He was one of the 62 AIDS patients waiting to receive the blessing from Pope John Paul II. When the Pope passed by, Brendon exclaimed, "Hi, long live the Pope," and touched the pontiff's ear, leaving him surprised. The Pope turned around and embraced Brendon. Brendon's mother shares that it's difficult for her to describe what she felt when she saw her son embraced by the Holy Father. It was undoubtedly moving, but it was much more than that. It was a profound lesson for the whole world. It was a way for the Catholic Church to show solidarity with people affected by AIDS, to depoliticize it, and to humanize AIDS, she said. It also demonstrated how we should treat those who are suffering, with an embrace. To embrace an AIDS patient during those years was a shocking act. It was a time when the disease was still widely misunderstood and carried a heavy stigma, including the false belief that it could be transmitted through simple contact. The Pope's embrace sent a message to the world, showing live on TV that those living with HIV and AIDS should not be feared. Both parents, natives of San Francisco, were concerned about the reaction of other families and children at Brendon's school. They organized a large meeting with all the parents to discuss the situation. But fortunately, everyone was understanding and wonderful, the mother recounts. She tells of how young Brendon understood that there was something wrong with his blood and knew that he had HIV, which had quickly developed into AIDS in his case. He carried a small backpack everywhere with a pump inside that delivered the antiviral drug AZT through a catheter in his chest. Brendon's mother shared the story of her son's brief but sweet life, his struggle against the disease, his enduring faith, and his deep reverence for the Holy Father. She said that she and her family, devout Irish Catholics, prayed on the day of the Pope's death for his peaceful and painless passing. She recounts how Brendon was a special child. He had a natural affinity for elderly and sick people. He didn't have the fear that some children do when it comes to disabled individuals or those in wheelchairs. After the encounter with the Pope in San Francisco, the parents took their son on 2 pilgrimages, hoping for a grace-filled outcome. The first pilgrimage took place in Lourdes, France, where many Catholics go to pray to the Virgin Mary. The second pilgrimage was to Rome, to participate in a ceremony for the beatification of Father Junipero Serra, the founder of the first missions in California, and to receive Holy Communion from their beloved Pope John Paul II. Brendon received Holy Communion from the Pope, and the two shared another emotional embrace. Photographers were present on this occasion as well, capturing the moment. The Pope smiled gently while Brendon beamed with a wide smile, his little hands intertwined behind the pontiff's neck. Brendon's mother recounts that he handled the illness well, and this strength likely stemmed from being a fighter since birth. The young Brendon would survive only 2 more years before succumbing to the disease. However, his brief time on Earth and the encounter with Pope John Paul II had a lasting impact. That embrace sent a powerful message to the entire world. It shattered the barriers of ignorance and fear. It showed that love and compassion can overcome stigma and prejudice. It gave hope to those battling AIDS and inspired a change in societal attitudes. Brendon's mother is certain that her little one is in heaven and that he greeted the Pope with one of his hugs. The parents harbor no anger for what happened to their child and recall that they never felt abandoned by God. Sometimes we seek great miracles in terms of physical healing, Brendon's parents recount. But there are also smaller favors that can come your way. We received many special blessings. We had time with Brendon. That was a gift. We learned the lesson that life is precious, and you never know how long you or your loved ones will live. We found peace through our faith. Through the story of Brendon O'Rouke, we are called to reflect on the power of love and kindness. We are called to recognize the dignity and worth of every person, regardless of their health condition. We are called to combat ignorance and spread acceptance and compassion. May Brendon's story inspire us to be instruments of healing and hope for those battling illnesses and marginalization. May we learn from him not to fear human contact, but rather extend a helping hand and embrace those who suffer. Let us pray that the legacy of Brendon O'Rouke continues to inspire and bring about positive change in the world. Let us pray for a future where no one is judged or discriminated against because of their medical condition, but rather loved and accepted in their full humanity. May God's love, manifested through the embrace of the Holy Father, continue to heal the wounds of the soul and bring hope to those in need. Please let us know in the comments what you think of this extraordinary and touching story. May God bless you all.